How useful a guide is what's happening online to the reality of the political story? Like, are the two sort of interrelated, and how much do they overlap?
I think it's pretty fundamental when you look at the fact that everyone's got a voice on social media right now. And you're looking at, you know, 500,000 people tweeting in the 7-way debate, somewhat less on the 5-way debate 11 days ago. That's 145,000 opinions just on that soundbite piece alone. So it could be argued, I think, that social media and the presence sort of blows oxygen into a campaign at various points. It then sort of dies down and it flatlines a little bit, and I think we've seen that in this particular election. But at certain times, I think it serves to engage in the debate.
I was reading some very interesting stuff about the way that various social media sites work, and just as when you express preferences towards products or anything else out there, social media tries to show you more of what you might like. And so some of these social media sites can turn into something of an echo chamber, where if you say you like a political view on one side, you just get more of that view. Do you think that that's something that's going to be a significant phenomenon in elections from now on? I
think it's a growing phenomenon. I think more and more people are expressing themselves on social media. We've seen the growth over the past 10 years has been exponential. And yes, there are sort of there's the retweeting, for instance, so that people are expressing an opinion of an opinion. And so I think there is it's more of a sort of a growth. There's a graph that develops from a conversation, and then you get social architects that are followed more closely, and they're seen as leaders on the web. And so, for instance, if Stephen Fry expresses an opinion, then that informs a much broader conversation than if David Morgan expresses an opinion.
I'm sure that's not true. What can we learn from the States about this?
Sorry,
what can we learn from the US about this?
We can learn that it's here to stay, and that a strong investment in understanding how people think and feel on the web is something that is not a choice anymore in an election campaign. It's a necessity.
And what do the stats tell us at the moment, then? Because I was just having a little look at your websites, and remind us of how it works. But basically, you can look at what the last 24 hours has thrown up. And Ed Miliband seems to be ahead on just mentions, or is that positive mentions?
Yeah, we look at sort of timelines from the last 5 minutes right through to the last 30 days, and we set up for the last 24 hours. And what we're looking at is that Ed Miliband is climbing up the credibility ladder right now. He's performed well in the televised debate. He's shown a human side to a politician that's that is somewhat refreshing for people out there. The sort of corollary of that is someone like Nigel Farage, for instance, who keeps dropping hand grenades in the debate, and becomes a Marmite figure. And what we saw probably 6 to 9 months ago, that Nigel Farage was actually sort of in the same category as, say, Boris Johnson, where he was seen as refreshing, says it how it is, slightly amusing. But I think what we've seen on social media is now his polarising effect has meant that there's a lot of fear and uncertainty around Nigel Farage, which doesn't make for a good result.
Does positive play better online than negative? Because David Cameron is now coming out today. We've certainly seen him doing it, trying to be much more positive, much more passionate.
It's what you're looking for is outliers on both sides. You're looking for things that are highly positive, things that are highly negative, and scoring those accordingly, and then taking an overall view of a trend in how people are thinking and feeling of the 4 major parties.
Yeah, has anything surprised you on who's doing what on which sort of topic? Because I was slightly surprised how David Cameron seems to be dominating the health conversation over the last 24 hours when I was looking.
Yes, it tends to rise and fall with the statements of the day.
The policy announcements, right?
Yes, but what's generally happening is that there's nothing really new that's taking a thought leadership view in any of the major topics, but it does flux.
David, thank you very much. David Morgan, the CEO of They Say.